Good evening, guys, and happy Thursday to all of your sunshiny faces. So guys, I don't have a haul for you guys today, even though it is Thursday, and I didn't have one last week other than on Saturday because of what was I gonna say? Because of the, what was going on Thursday? Oh, my mom had the car on Thursday, and so we weren't able to go to the grocery stores, and then we tried to schedule it out, and it was like something ended up almost coming up every day, and we could have went over the weekend, but again, we were planning on like, oh, let's go on Monday or Tuesday, and then things came up on both those days. So and it's weird too, guys, like I don't feel like it's that late in the week, just because again, I spent first 2 days pretty much almost non-stop helping my mom and dad with that thing that they had to get finished up, but luckily it's done. So the rest of this week I've actually been able to sort of get back on track a little bit. Like sometimes honestly too, when I am like already like not lazy, because like I said, I literally spent 7 hours one day helping my mom on one of them. The other day on Monday, I think it was in the afternoon, I spent like 4 hours helping my dad, and then Sunday too, and I started working on it on Saturday and so for a little while, but yeah, it was, like I said, just it was a huge headache, but it's done. So I still have one little piece left that I have to finish, but regardless, it's pretty much done. I don't have to spend hours doing anything else. So yeah, but because of that, like, you know, like I said, my Monday and Tuesday were pretty much completely shot. Like I hardly did anything. And so sometimes it's easy for me, like if that happens, and like I said, I lost 2 whole days practically. So, you know, like looking at it, it's like my Monday almost seemed like it was like Wednesday. So like I only had like 3 days during the week to like get stuff done sort of like I normally do. So, I normally, like sometimes when that type of stuff happens or something comes up and it just sort of throws a wrench into my plans or like into my schedule, then like sometimes I will just be like completely thrown off and like by the end of the week not being able to get anything done. But I didn't. I sort of bounced back and I was proud of myself for doing that. And today I actually woke up early. I was insanely surprised, but I think it was because I haven't had any, other than a little bit of coffee in the morning, I have not had any, especially pop, in the afternoon. And so I did yesterday. That was probably a bad idea because I could not for the life of me fall asleep. Like I was up like all like just sort of in and out. Like I woke up at 6 o'clock and felt like I hadn't actually fallen asleep, and then at 6 o'clock till about 8 o'clock I was like in such a deep sleep. I felt like I slept for hours and I was only asleep for about 2 hours by the time I looked at my clock again. And so I actually got up at 8 o'clock and I've been up since 8 o'clock ever since. And so because like I couldn't fall back asleep either, I was just also too like uncomfortable, and I don't really know why, and I think maybe it was that like I couldn't really get to sleep really well. I don't know, but I guess it was sort of a good thing because again, it woke me up actually early this morning, so I was able to have more time to get more stuff done. The only thing I didn't finish today, because again, like I'm not even thinking like I don't know what day it is. It doesn't feel like it's Thursday to me already. But the only thing I didn't do was I didn't do my grocery list. I wanted to do that today because again, I knew we weren't going to go to Valley Produce and Caputo's because my dad had to coach the Frost Off team, which they ended up playing, but we couldn't go to it because Jack was, he had to be picked up from football practice like a little after 5 o'clock it ends. And I think their game started like around 5 o'clock or something. And it's maybe about a half hour away. So by the time we actually got there, and again, once we actually did pick Jack up and then got everything set, you know, locked the dogs up, you know, everything like that, it was probably going to be already like an hour into the game by the time we got there, just to turn around sort of and go back and then like, you know, wind up it, you know, an hour, half-hour drive back. And normally, like, if that sort of stuff comes up, like on Fridays, when they normally have the games on Fridays, the reason that that works okay, well, like, we can be like, oh, well, we're just not going to go to the game, is because Jack's varsity game is right afterwards. So, but since it wasn't, that wasn't how they were doing it. I actually think it was a JV team, possibly. I don't know. My dad didn't really make it clear in the text message. Normally at like halftime he'll send us like an update or something like that, like, oh, we're winning, or you know, whatever. So I don't know entirely what he said the score was, but they got the ball to start the game, and my dad said like the first 2 or 3 plays or something like that, they actually ended up getting a touchdown, which I was like, that's awesome. So they ended up they had 6 points, they were leading 6-0, and then my dad said that it was just sort of tough though too, because the other team had like, it was actually, yes, it was a JV team, because he said that there were kids that had like 2 different colored helmets, meaning like some of them were seniors or like juniors or whatever that don't play like on Friday nights, that were playing in the JV game, because normally JV is like for kids that don't get playing time. And so the game was supposed to be on Saturday. I don't know why, but it got rescheduled for Thursday night, which like for us, when Matthew had they had a freshman, sophomore, or freshman, and then a sophomore team, and then a JV and varsity team. And so I think it was like Thursdays maybe, or like Thursday I think the freshmen played, then the sophomores would play before the varsity, and then the JV would play on Saturday, and that was always to accommodate like the kids that didn't wind up getting a lot of playing time on Friday nights, you know, that were like seniors or, you know, juniors or whatever, they wind up playing in the JV, the junior varsity. Or sometimes too, it's like kids that, you know, just like are, you know, up and coming sort of, you know, like they're maybe juniors and they'll be, you know, like seniors next year, but there's a senior that's like beat them out in that position, so they'll practice, you know, get practice time sort of in a game situation at JV. So like I said, that was always how it was for Matthew. So I think it was sort of the same thing, and that's why the game was scheduled for Saturday. So they were playing JV kids who are, again, probably some like, again, maybe freshmen, sophomores, juniors, possibly even seniors, against a majority freshman and some sophomore team. They didn't have their quarterback that was playing on the Frost-Off team because he's actually starting at varsity. So yeah, like I said, but tomorrow is Jack's game, the varsity game, but that's why it's just a little weird. Like too, when you're competing against other teams that like either have, you know, more kids or whatever, or, you know, like I said, however it ends up working out. Like I said, my dad said there was like 40 kids probably on the sidelines. And again, my dad was like, there was like 5 for us. So yeah, like I said, they were probably at maybe a little bit of a disadvantage in that aspect, and on top of that too, they are going against kids that are older. But my dad said I think the final was 6 to like 26 or something like that. And again, they ended up sort of holding their own and everything. He said they had 2, I think, interceptions, or at least like, or fumble recoveries or something like that. And, you know, 2 turnovers, I think. And I thought he said one of them was a interception, but I think one was on like an extra point, so it really, you know, just didn't end up counting. It was just, you know, I guess you can do that to pad your stats, but in high school you don't get to run it back if you wind up recovering it, which my dad said stinks because the kid was gone. There was nobody anywhere near him when he caught the ball, but he couldn't advance it because it's a dead ball if it's, you know, like picked off by the other team, or I actually don't know how the fumble works, because like if the other team winds up fumbling it but they recovered in the end zone, I actually do think that it is like a 2-point conversion. But like I said, it's just like, you know, if the other team winds up recovering, it's a dead ball. So anyways though, guys, yeah, I will have I'll let you guys know what Jax winds up, you know, doing in tomorrow's varsity game.